How do you know when to divert? That's the topic of today. Welcome to the Safer Pilot Challenge. MzeroA Online Ground School, Jason here, day 15. Is it safe to say we're like somewhere in the middle of this video? You'll be halfway there. Who's 15 for 15? Congratulations on just keeping up with it all. If not, no shame, right? You can go back. You got some binge watching to do to really catch up. We're spending some time here today about making smart go and no-go decisions in the airplane. So often we focus on making good decisions on, oh, I'm gonna stay on the ground today, I'm not gonna go flying. But we forget that that go and no-go decision process continues even when we're in the airplane. I know you all saw it. It's one of our most popular videos this year. Great job to Coach Ray and the MzeroA team on that one, but it was the diversion that Magda and I had to make. We were trying to film a beautiful Class Bravo video for you all during last year's radio communication series. I wanted to land at Tampa International. I was heading to the AOPA fly-in, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, you see pink on the radar, approach calls me, says Tampa just went IFR, state your intentions.
November 23 Mike Zulu, radar contact 15 miles east of Sarasota, Tampa altimeter 3010. Advise me of the weather at Tampa. They did just go IFR there. I don't know how long that's going to last.
Understand, we grabbed Alpha. We'll grab the latest and see what's happening over there.
Roger.
So we started heading that way. They tried to thread us through some cells and everything else. If you haven't seen the video, go watch it. But you see, the first step in making good decisions while flying is I have to have good information. And if you remember in that video, I was listening to the ATIS, it was VFR, I was looking at the ADSB weather, there was nothing, and then all of a sudden Tampa calls me to say, hey, the field's IFR. And literally, so unscripted, what happened in my mind was, what do you mean the field's IFR? Like, it's gorgeous. If you look at the early footage where I'm flying, what do you mean the field went IFR? Did you see then? I looked up and I have two ADSB sources. One showed the nasty weather. The other one I was looking at didn't show the nasty weather till a little bit later when it refreshes.
This is why.
Continue.
Does this caption? This camera capture this? This is why you have two ADSB sources. I show the nasty weather here. I do not show the nasty weather here. This is and radar's working just to be fully transparent, right down Sarasota and everything else. You can see it. This is why you have two ADSB sources. People, oh, there it goes. Just loaded now. Finally.
We forget that that information, that data, can be old. Did you know for weather radar returns, 8 minutes delayed is considered a fast return? Well, I don't know where you fly, but I guarantee wherever you fly, in 8 minutes, a lot can change. In Florida, it rains in the front yard and not in the backyard, right? Things can change quickly. That's not just true of Florida. This is why it's so important to get that thorough weather brief. And even when that weather brief, even when you do the weather brief and you digest it all, you call flight service, you still may have to divert because weather changes so quickly. This is why you must maintain your proficiency in not only your piloting skills, but your flight planning skills, your airplane systems, everything else. Have you considered this year maybe earning an instrument rating? How many of you is it an item on the list of 2023 goals to earn an instrument rating or get instrument proficient or better, pursuing instrument mastery? So how do we make these smart decisions? Well, it's simple. You got to stick to your personal minimums. We've talked about having hard set personal minimums, and when I see a place like Tampa International, Class Bravo, super busy, it was going to be a little difficult for me to get in there anyways as a 172. I don't need to be going in there when it's truly IFR, where there's a million other good airports. I was just making a video. I didn't have to be there. And I'm thinking, I don't need to be in the IFR environment trying to keep up with all these aircraft who really need to be there and really need that approach. So we decided to divert. But you see, decision making is a continual process. You have to identify those hazards along the way and the risk value of those hazards. And if you remember, the controller, we painted those two big cells on there. The controller sent somebody through that gap. That pilot made it successfully. And their next thing was, hey, 23 Mike Zulu, turn this heading. I just sent someone through there. You should be fine too.
3 Mike Zulu, suggest a heading of 330 now.
I'm just not comfortable going through that gap if you don't mind us going the long way around, like Plant City.
No, I don't care. Whatever you feel comfortable with.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Chili Mike Zulu.
For 5 Lima Romeo.
That was, he just went through it, so she said, hey, 6, 330, 330 is right through there. And what do you say? Unable. Right? I just felt more confident. I didn't need to tell her my life story. I could have just said unable. I told her I'd rather go the long way around it.
Yes. I still don't say.
611, 0 kilo Tampa departure, ident, common maintain.
It's like your mother used to tell you, your friend jumps off the bridge, are you going to do it too? Not that that person did anything dangerous. They got away with it. It was all good. I'm just not a fan of trying to thread the needle between two cells. Who's with me on that one? But good decision making has to come with good data. It's like the Swiss cheese model. Are you familiar? Accidents happen when we take all these pieces of Swiss cheese and the holes all line up and you can draw a straight line through them. But when we block one, we trap errors along the way, and good defenses block these poor decisions. And there's a lot of issues that interfere with good decision making we've spoken about. We talked about the 5 hazardous attitudes. A little recap: macho, impulsivity, anti-authority, resignation, invulnerability. What about a big one? It's not a hazardous attitude, it's more a behavioral trap: get there-itis. Well, everyone's expecting me to be there. They need me to sign this paperwork. I've got to close this business deal. I haven't seen the kids in 3 weeks and I just want to get up there while they're on this little college break so I can go see them. Get there-itis. Think JFK Jr., right? We use that as an example a lot. Did you know he was heading to a wedding? And imagine you're JFK Jr., you got to give a toast. Everyone's expecting you to be there. No one's expecting you to be anywhere. And if they are, you should have an airline ticket, a refundable airline ticket as a backup, or a rental car that's refundable as a backup with that. You impair your judgment by fixating on the goal of actually getting there. And you just disregard your alternative plan. You know a huge killer of pilots? Non-refundable hotels, non-refundable rental cars. I already prepaid the hotel. I need to land at this airport. That's where I'm staying tonight. If not, I'll be sleeping in the 172. Let me tell you something. I've slept in a 172. It's not great. I've slept in an FBO lobby. It's not great. But I'm here to tell you the story. You got to think about it that way. But decision making is affected by other things too. Fatigue. It's getting late. You just want to get there. But you have a slower reaction time. You make poor decisions. Then you got to think about things like stress. Where are you trying to fly to? Maybe you're flying to a funeral or flying to weddings. Add stress too, right? Good and the bad with that. Maybe there's some stress in your personal life. What is your response to that stress? And how do you work to handle it? What's the pressure inside and outside that flight deck? What's the passenger pressure, by the way, with that you have to think about? You know, also with JFK Jr., he was flying with his wife and his sister-in-law. I'm sure they wanted to get to that wedding just as much. Yet the conditions keep getting worse and worse. And he was misjudging that rate of deterioration, even though the sun is setting, it's getting darker and darker. You see, the truth of it is, and you need to live by this truth, flying is a fluid situation. You're going to have weather issues. You're going to have equipment issues. You will have a passenger or a pilot that gets sick at some point. There's going to be a gear up landing at your destination airport and they're going to close it for some emergency. There's going to be a pop-up TFR, right? You always have to have a backup. You always have to have an alternate. There are hotels available. There are, between Uber and apps like Hotel Tonight and everything else, like you can just get a car, get a hotel then and there. There's no excuse anymore. Just ensure your alternate doesn't have worse weather. Because if not, I always advocate the 180-degree turn. You made it this far, right? Go back. It's probably better back behind you. Anyways, who's ever made a diversion will be so humble to share the story down below in the comments. You see, this is what we teach. We teach not only through real-world stories, we teach through your stories, because at MzeroA, we are a family in everything that we do. It's not just some great YouTube videos. It's not just an amazing online ground school. I hope you'll take us up on that offer, by the way, MzeroAtrial.com for your written test, your check ride, and most importantly, like we learned here today, what's going to level you up to make you that safe, real-world pilot. We've said it so many videos. I can give you the skills to be a Jaeger or a Rickenbacker or an Earhart, but all that is in vain if you can't make smart decisions. So let's work on us, then we'll work on the skill set. as well. Can't wait to read your comments down below this video. Again, MzeroAtrial.com to see inside the online ground school. Have a blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your day. And most importantly, remember, a good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see ya. The Private Pilot Blueprint is everything I wish someone would have told me before I started my flight training. How to really just maximize everything in your aviation journey. It's the definitive roadmap to beginning that aviation journey. You can grab your copy by going to privatepilotblueprint.com.